So I'd like to next introduce Norman Harry, who's the former tribal chair of the Pyramid Lake Paiute.
Senator, it's an honor to be here, and we're really glad that you're here, and I'm really glad to see a lot of our relatives from across the state of Nevada and across the country to be here as well. The issues that we're facing here in the West are going to be a little bit different than what you've been used to hearing in the East. And a major focus that we have to deal with here is dealing with water. I'd like to first start off by saying I'd like to welcome you to your Aboriginal lands of our indigenous people. That's the Paiute, Shoshone, and Washoe tribes. As past chairman and working in Indian country for the past 30 years, we've had to deal with some of the most important and deal with land issues, water rights issues, water rights negotiations, and also trying to protect the cultural resources of the tribe. Because of our reservations, actually our people have traversed across the Great Basin. And we're people that hunted, gathered, fished, but we had the freedom of going throughout the Great Basin to survive. Now our Aboriginal lands have actually been condensed because of the reservations, but the impacts and cultural resources are still out there. We've had our tribe at Pyramid Lake has had success in achieving a water negotiated settlement, and I'm proud to say that as of November of last year, we achieved the final passage for 101-618, also the Truckee River Operating Agreement, but it took almost 30 years, which demonstrates the perseverance with all that were involved. We have the industries here in Nevada that have had a huge impact on the water resources, particularly knowing that every basin within the state of Nevada is over appropriated, both surface water and groundwater. We have the industries that have impacted the groundwater, particularly mining, and again, being on federal lands. So we know there has to be reform in areas and looking at how this is attributable to resource protection. And so in looking at one of the antiquated laws, of course, be looking at the 1872 mining law. So my question to you, Senator, is what is your plan for water management in the West, and not only Nevada, but the entire West?
Norman, thanks for all of your work, and thanks for touching on an issue of huge, huge consequence, which I think we are only just beginning to recognize, and that is the issue of water. For a start, let me back it up and tell you this. I'm a member of the Environmental Committee. I'm a member of the Senate Energy Committee. I believe, having talked to scientists all over this world, that climate change is real. It is caused by human activity. It is already causing devastating problems. So to answer one part of your question, I believe we need to take on the fossil fuel industry. I believe we need to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. And in that regard, I have introduced legislation which would end the extraction of fossil fuel from publicly owned land. Okay? And what we have also done is introduce in the Senate the most comprehensive and climate change legislation ever introduced. So the first thing and the broadest answer to your question is we have a real crisis in terms of climate change, in terms of drought, California, Nevada, other parts of the world, in terms of flooding, extreme weather disturbances. I believe that the United States must lead the world and work with countries around the world in transforming our energy system. In terms of water management, what we have to do is recognize that we have a resource that must be fairly utilized by all people and not just powerful special interests. Whether they are agricultural interests or mining interests. Small farmers need help too. Individual citizens need help. And I think that when you look at Flint, Michigan today, by the way, and that horrendous public health tragedy, you're looking at the canary in the cage. I think you're going to see more and more of that, which is why, among other things, I have proposed a $1 trillion investment to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, including levees and dams, to make sure that we do as good a job as possible in preserving our limited water resources.